If you believe it, you're gonna make it. Getting stronger by the day, you're invincible. If you believe it, you're gonna make it. Getting stronger by the day, you're invincible.
Where?
Good luck.
Huh? I don't know. It's very
From Cape
suburban.
Town. It's very Cape Town.
Huh?
Southern suburbs.
Okay. The first time-
Muizenberg there.
All right, cool.
Beautiful.
This
I
rich
like it.
people's music.
Good evening, South Africa. It's Tuesday and we are coming to you live on SABC3. Welcome to another epic episode of Trending SA. I'm Elma Smith and with me is Refilwe Mpakanyane, who was cheating on the show earlier today. What were you up to without me?
Listen, darling, when we were young, we used to leave our younger cousins and siblings behind. We'd say, we're just going to the shops. Stay here, we'll bring you back a chomp if you behave. So you were the young one today.
But now, I didn't get a chomp, Mable.
You see, you weren't listening. The chomp is a lie.
Oh.
So we were not supposed to get you the chomp. We just say.
We just ran off to go hang out at the Daily Teta for an hour. Yeah.
But did you have a nice teta?
It was, it was a great teta.
It was a great teta.
We settled
love
some
it.
matters of national
And both of them have been on the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now from teta to top trends, like how Mable always goes. Pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew. So this one is unfortunately quite pew worthy. GBV has become a sport in Mzansi, and the latest person to be red carded was Orlando Pirates midfielder Uthembinkosi Lorch. He allegedly assaulted his girlfriend in the early hours of Monday morning. He was arrested. He was later released on 2,000 Rand bail. And Mzansi, of course, took to Twitter to express their feelings on the arrest and release. Rebecca Chaka tweeted this. Check it out. I used to have mad respect for Thembinkosi Lorch, but since yesterday, he's just a piece of trash to me. It doesn't matter who started the argument or whatever it was, but Oksalayo, it does not give him a right to lay a hand on a woman. And then Hloks Dipolo tweeted this, saying, the Thembinkosi Lorch story is really sad. I know the boy personally, and he was raised by, he was raised well by his single mother. He has never shown any signs of violence the entire time that I've known him. GBV is a serious matter. I, however, still cannot believe that boy did it. Mable, I know you are chomping at the bit. There's something in that second tweet that just aggravated you. What's going on?
I just hate it when somebody does something like that, and then you always get somebody like, oh, Bengmazi. Oh, what a humble lamb.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, somebody can be amazing to you, and that's why some of these people are our friends.
Exactly.
Because they're amazing friends, but they're rubbish at home, you know?
They're rubbish at home or they're rubbish towards their female colleagues. It's already problematic. What really beat me about the story was, or what made me think, was that, you know, when you are in the public eye and you have the benefit of being famous and you have the benefit of money, surely you should know better. Am I taking crazy pills here?
No.
Why don't men like this know better? In fact, I feel as though the more famous you are and the more money you are, the book must be thrown at you. You need to get harsher sentences. This is unacceptable.
And you know what? I think that Oscar Pistorius' story, Java's story, there are so many famous and well-known men. It should serve as a warning. If you out there are a well-known man right now and you thinking, but it's not always that bad. It is always that bad, and we are going to come for you and you will not work again. We will make an example of you.
You see, for me, these things tire me. They really tire me, because there was another story that actually came out.
Yeah.
There was a story about a man that shot his wife inside a police station. You know, it brings me to something I heard. They said that men are exactly like a gun. You know, statistically, you are most likely to be killed by the one in your house.
That
and
is
I
so
feel,
chilling.
you know what I'm saying? And I feel that we in South Africa, because we are such a troubled nation and we've got this history, I think that therapy should be mandatory. You should have maybe 15 therapy sessions that you have to attend before you turn 18, before you get your ID.
Like conscription.
Yeah,
That's it, no choice.
you are not a fully fledged citizen until you go to those therapy sessions.
And can the EFF please pitch up at the police stations the way they are running at clicks?
And you are dressed like them today,
Yes.
so we'll see you at the police station.
So, EFF, I am wearing red because I'm hoping you will hear me. Please be there for the women and the GBV victims as much as you are there for the clicks victims.
For the mascaras and
Yes.
everything else. All right, so while South African men are doing the colonial thing of raping and pillaging, something else came up on my timeline. There was a tweet by Thuli Madonsela. In my view, the clicks case, Black Hair Matter, is a textbook case of unconscious bias. Calling it out as is great, but anarchy and violence undermine the cause. The best and most cerebral way, Refilo, did you help write this tweet? Cerebral response. Yeah, Thuli Madonsela was in Refilo's house when this tweet was crafted. I've seen so far is a video by a young black woman. Amongst them is my colleague at Diane Gahiza.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, of course, somebody responded.
Of course
Can you
they had
guess?
to.
Right? Julius Malema was all over it like white on rice, and Julius Malema said, do you call a peaceful protest anarchy? Where was it peaceful? Or maybe where he was, it was peaceful. Right?
Well, you know what? So the professor is actually trending on #1 right now as we speak. So we thought it would be a timeless time to actually have her on the line and welcome Professor Thuli Madonsela joining us via Skype. Welcome to Trending SA. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Well, thank you for the privilege. Greetings to the viewers.
So, Prof, I would just like to start with the messaging that you've been putting out on Twitter. Is there anything you feel the EFF misunderstood? Is there anything you think they're not getting about what you have been saying?
Yes, I think they're not getting the fact that we're on the same page insofar as believing that racism is wrong and that it must be combated. But you can't sacrifice poor workers at clicks, people who are collecting their meds at clicks, and generally unemployed people using them as cannon fodder to fight this war.
Prof, Mina, I want to know, you and the EFF were once, you were once lovers. You were just great with each other. Recently, you are fighting a lot. What's happening in this relationship?
Actually, it's quite an interesting relationship. It is fights. There are certain good things that the EFF does. And at the beginning, when they started, that they did strengthen our democracy. However, can you still hear me? However, in recent times, they do use desperate measures to get their message across. They insult people. They blatantly used bullying and physical force to stop people from buying from clicks. That's unlawful and just wrong, plain wrong.
Okay.
You know, Prof, we're dealing with a lot of racial insensitivity in the country. We grapple with it quite a bit. And I'm keen to find out from you how you propose we effectively fix or start actually properly fixing race relations in South Africa. What are your thoughts?
Well, I cannot dictate to everyone what they need to do.
Sure.
What I have been doing ever since I left office as a publicator is research around social justice, talking to companies about dealing with unconscious bias and about creating workplaces that are inclusive, but also about making sure that they impact on communities, about rallying people around a Musa plan for social justice. Because clearly, as long as some of us are left behind, the race issue will always be a problem.
So, Prof, let's say, and this is now a crazy supposition, but let's say you were clicks over the weekend and this thing happened. What would your response have been? Because we had 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and a lot of people were not happy with. What would your advice have been to management if they'd called you and said, Prof, help, how do we respond?
Well, I would have said to clicks, apologize. Secondly, withdraw the advert itself and repackage the product if needs be. But more importantly, this is the tip of the iceberg. I would have said to clicks, please train your staff around unconscious biases. that in the end of the day, things that we regard as normal are abnormal. It's just that our unjust past made us believe that hierarchical view of humanity, a hierarchical view of humanity, better and worse depending on what you look like, was made normal in the past, but it's not normal. We are equal, and every human being is born equal until we make them unequal. And we can restore the humanity of every human being by simply making sure that we examine our unarticulated premises.
Okay. Prof, Mina, what I want to say right now is that you should leave Stellenbosch. Rhodes is waiting for
Aye,
you.
Nia.
That office does not suit you. You deserve better.
Do you have shares at Rhodes?
You
What is
deserve
this?
better. That's all I'm saying. I know.
That building produced me. I studied at that department.
No.
Wash your mouth.
Unbelievable. Maple studied at Rhodes, so he thinks everything needs to come back to where he studied. Meanwhile, we're dealing with matters of national importance. But let's make it about you, Maple. Why
That's
not?
because you studied at Neighborhoods Market in Durham. That's your problem. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. You are trending on Twitter, trending at #1. Take it in your stride. That means you are still important to us. We love you here at Trending SA. We want to see you live on this seat away from Stellenbosch. We'll treat this as your roads.
Well, thank you. I love Stellenbosch. Please come to Stellenbosch and see how we are. Please
Dizzy.
do. I love this place.
Dizzy.
Thank you, Prof. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Prof. Now, our lines are always
Thank you,
open, so
bye.
you can dial us anytime. See you after this. Don't go too far.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trending SA right here on SABC3. Last week, guys, Durban-based artists took to the streets, boy did they ever, to protest the lockdown regulations. Are you touched on your studio?
I don't like your tone. It's
Why?
tone, Yako.
Yes.
You said Devon. It's just like, oh, those people are
But Bagin, no, it's fine. let's have a discussion. At any rate, they took to the streets to protest lockdown regulations, right? And their demands were for, number one, the curfew to be extended to 12 a.m., for an increase in crowd capacity at venues to go to 70%, as well as to have radio stations, play only local music. Now, the protest did not end well for the artists. 30 people ended up being arrested.
All right. So joining us on our pin chat is the esteemed Dr. Sipho Sithole. Yeah, you have the Sipho has to stay there. Dr. Sipho Sithole Wasemlazi, Nasemsing, who is the owner of Native Rhythms. You know that record label that gave us Ozakwe, gave us The Soil, and Zulu Boy, and he is an award-winning producer. Dr. Sipho, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very
fine,
much.
eh?
Yeah. By the way, anyone who grew up in the townships, that's Ethekwini, will never refer to Ethekwini as Durban.
Yeah.
Iqeda kufika lezi abona abantu abafana no
Orifilo
professor abafika bephuma emakhaya bathi kuseDurban.
Dr. Putsipo, please, I'm hurt right now.
Umuntu waseClermont, Chesterville, Lamontville, KwaMashu, Inanda, Ntuzuma.
Yeah.
Mabesuka bathi saya eThekwini. But if you came to Durban uze esikoleni uzofunda or bathi kuseDurban. So this is a trip.
It's a trip.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Can I just lead with Dr. Sipho? Is that okay?
Yeah.
From eThekwini.
Just Dr. Sipho from Ethekwini.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, cool. So, Dr. Sipho, we all saw the videos and the protest. I mean, it was a lot happening there on the highway. And the artists pleaded with the president to open up the country. I love how in this video earlier, everyone was taking selfies and videos and doing lives on Instagram. You've been in the industry for a while. You've been around. What do you make of these protests?
Well, Uzawe then calls me, wanting to find my opinion. What is my opinion? Putsipo, what is your opinion? I say to Zawe, I mean not Zawe, sorry, Zex Bantu.
Sure.
You know, if I think about where we are now, you either have to be a responsible government, or you then must decide to appease people, and then everyone heads up to the graveyard. Because this disease is real. I mean, South Africa is already approaching 15,000 people dead. It could be one member of your family, it could be someone else. But then our discussion went on, he has a different view. And I said, there's no right or wrong, but picture yourselves, Zakes, you are on stage. So when you came from backstage, you are safe, and then there are people in the audience, far from you. When you are disciplined, your band is sitting there, is there.
And bands are whatever.
And then they're doing whatever they're doing. You don't even know where they're coming from. Everyone has just arrived here. One person with COVID.
And then everyone.
Everyone is sick. And then they go home to your grandmother.
You know, do you find, Uguti, artists and the entertainment industry's engagement with government is adequate, especially when it comes to, this is such an important matter because lockdown has hit everybody in the pocket. So it is a matter of financial survival. Was the kind of engagement, was it adequate?
Maybe not, because no one was prepared for this. I mean, who would have known? I mean, we hear that the rest of the world knew already by last year that this thing was coming. And then suddenly, 15th of March, President announces national state of disaster.
Mina Putsipo Indengishoyo is that, you know, we must understand as artists, because I sympathize with everyone that is not working during this time. It must be hard. But we must understand that we are not the last born of the country. Ama last born of the country, there's two of them. It's taxi drivers and it's truck drivers. They can close down freeways and nothing will happen. They can run in underwears and do whatever. Tina, that's why that happened to us, because you can't just close down a national road, you know, just like that.
But here's the reality though, if I then look at their side, is that this industry employs about 1.3 million people.
True.
It's about 7.06% of total employment. It contributes 74.6 billion rands to GDP. It is not, it's a significant player.
It's not non-essential, because those were
So when you shut down the industry, and you are doing so because it's a responsible decision to do, but it means the income that would have been generated is not there, which means these families are suffering. I called Mina Minister immediately after the president announced. I said, Minister, this is, I wanted to swear, I can't. I said, but this is some serious stuff here, because people are going to be chucked out of their homes, cars will be repossessed, because it's mainly a freelance industry. You work on call.
But Dr. Sipho, the thing is just that if we could keep this sector closed and sustain it, that would have been great. But we can't. In this country, we also have some of the highest recovery rates seen anywhere. Of people who are diagnosed, the rate of recovery is incredibly high. And people are drilling in Melville every weekend like it's Christmas, like it's December already. So isn't this a futile attempt?
That's the thing, because if you look at what happened in England just recently, there was a festival in a capacity of 45,000 people. They had 35. I mean, they had 3,500, but they made them sit in cubicles. It's not going to happen, Max.
Not
But then we must choose. We must choose. Do we want to festival like that? And survive? Have the industry survive? Have musicians survive? Or do we all want to sit home?
Can I tell you something? In South Africa, it will take one shot of Sambuca and we'll be jumping over those railings, we'll be hugging each other. Right now, this is what we do. We walk in with our masks like this, take one drink and then we let it go.
People are renting masks.
Yes.
People are renting masks to walk into a shop right in my village of Pomeroy. It's a very small one street. There's a guy who's making money, $10. You go in with a mask, you come back, give back, $10.
That is a lot.
Okay,
now, then you expect in South Africa to have a live show in Moretele. Forget it.
Forget it.
Unbelievable.
Okay, we have some solutions that we are going to be taking a look at, but Martin Bester sent us a video talking about the effects of this and the impact on musicians
during this time,
on artists during this time.
The effects of the lockdown on the music and events and entertainment industries were just devastating. I think the toughest part for me was definitely watching the musicians in my band, you know, sit around for most of the time and being unable to play and perform. And they are top talented musicians. Some of them even had to sell off some of their equipment and their instruments, which is just heartbreaking. If I had to find an upside to it, I personally used the opportunity to write a lot, even recorded, work on some new music. It also made a lot of us, I think, a lot more tech savvy. You know, live streaming concerts from home, from studios around town, even recording songs from our various homes was quite a challenge. And
We're going to be chatting about how theatres have dealt with this and commenting on this input from Martin. When we return, we'd love to hear from you as well. Make sure you keep joining the conversation. #StarOn3.
Love that song. Dun, 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 dun.
Absolutely love it. Welcome back. You're still watching Trending SA right here on SABC3. Now, we continue our conversation about the impact of COVID-19 on the performing arts as well as the entertainment industry. And of course, before the break, we had Martin Bester just talking to us about how he was impacted and his observations of this time and how luckily he was able to turn this negative into a positive.
Yeah, and he's not the only one.
Sure.
James Ngobo, who is the artistic director at the Market Theatre, also had something to say to provide us some solutions. And take a look.
I like that.
We are still obviously dealing with the effects of this COVID-19 era that we are faced with. It's not only in this country, globally, and it has completely altered how theatre is made. And us who are theatre curators, we have had to find fresh and exciting and innovative ways. That means that we stay in touch with our constituency and we are able also to generate business ideas so that when we speak about work that is exhibited in these social media platforms, there is also a business acumen that follows that. It's not just we taking work there, but it is how do we sustain being able to pay the playwrights, the directors, the actors and the designers. And I would love to say with all the humility in the world, we've been able to do that as the Market Theatre. We're learning from it. It's new. Everybody's learning from it, but what is lovely is that each step that you take leads you to a space of clarity around how, if this persists or there is a resurgence of COVID-19, how do we make theatre differently to the time that is pre-COVID? And that is what we do.
So, Dr. Sipho, you have got a platform called Watcher TV. You've been able to monetize during this time, even though it has been bleak for so many people. Talk to me about spotting the gap in a time of crisis.
Before I say that, I want to tell the nation that you think they are giving us coffee here. It's water. This is water. Yeah.
Does yours have water in it?
It's water. Yeah, there's no coffee
water.
here.
It's still water.
Designer water.
Yeah, but anyway, Watcher TV saw that we needed to give people a platform, the artists a platform,
sure,
to engage with their audiences so that they are not forgotten. Mm-hmm. The most important thing was for them to remain relevant.
Yeah.
And also to say, we give you the platform for free, you perform, we shoot you, we stream. Mm-hmm. If people have come in numbers and bought your show, we're just going to share 50-50.
Sure.
If nobody made money, it's fine. We will take our losses for having provided the technical part.
Absolutely.
But that's what it is. Yeah.
I love to see African innovation right here at home. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate your insight.
Coffee.
It's a pleasure with the water. And of course, thank you at home for joining us. Tomorrow, we're talking hair politics, so important. Activist Zuleka Patel and hair influencer Sinovoyo Mondliwa will be joining the conversation. We're joined by Zuleka, so looking forward to that. And see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. right here on SABC3. See you then.
I just need to take a picture of this thing. It's so nice. I like this thing.